people in the parks?
Well, homeless people have to be somewhere. If we don't make a system that accommodates people who don't have a place to live, they have to be in the public realm. I think unless you can suggest something better, they have to be in the public realm.
You're on 42nd Street.
We have an answer to that. We have the same number of homeless people in Bryant Park today that we had when it was viewed by everyone, including yourself, as horrible in the early 1980s. What we didn't have then and we have now is 4,000 other people. So the ratio of non-homeless to homeless is 4,000 to 13 instead of 250 to 13. So any female walking into Bryant Park who might have in the past been concerned about her security,
now she feels safe.
Says this doesn't look like a homeless hangout to me. The homeless people are welcomed into Bryant Park if they follow the rules, and those same 13 people are there almost every day, and we know their names. And
you know, it's nice that you have your pet homeless people.
You're worried about
that.
protests. You're worried about protests.
Yes, that's another major thing. When people get mad at their government, they have to be able to take it to the streets or the parks. And that's one of the most, since time immemorial, the purposes of public space. And a lot of this privatization, and it's true of other parks in Boston, and I'm sure here also, was to stop the rallies and the be-ins and all that, you know,
50,000 people wanted to protest Bush in Central Park, and
we're not allowed.
We're not allowed, but they would have killed the grass.
What's more important, democratic free speech or the grass? You can replace the grass.
Well, you can
it would take 2 years.
Whatever it would take.
We don't have enough democratic free speech? They can't protest on the street?
No, this is the place where they would get their proper publicity, where they would get their legitimacy. But
it was government that said no to them, not corporations.
Well, it's the kind of government that is now giving their places over to corporations. That's what the real problem is. What we have to do is fix the government, because we're ending up with a two-tiered
Good luck with that. Dan, I'll
system.
give you the last word.
Quick word on events and free speech. The Parks Department writes the permits, so they're the final
You don't
decider.
write them, the government writes
Parks Department does, and will always be the case. And anytime it's a politician who wants to demonstrate, we've had obnoxious people on both sides. We had a racist preacher. We had a gay pride demonstration where the language was horrible. Both were permitted because under the First Amendment, we're the agent of the city, and we had to let it be. So we do not abridge any speech in Bryant Park or any park I'm involved in.
Thank you, Dan Biederman. Thank you, Shirley Kressel. I wish I could say good luck to both of you, but I can only say good luck to him. Up next, how can I convince the public that private ownership and management is a good thing? And Shirley, too. Here's a guy who talked about how great the privately run Bryant Park is. But you just said public is better.
You got me there.
Sharing is caring. It can be fun.
Isn't that sweet? And it reminds me, I'd like to wish you Happy Starvation Day. Well, that is what Thanksgiving would be called if the Pilgrims had kept to the communal property rules they started with. When they first settled at Plymouth, they were told, share everything. Share the work. You'll share the harvest. The colony's contract said that it was to be a common. Settlers were to receive their necessaries out of the common stock. There was to be no individual property. The labor of the colony was to be organized according to the different capabilities of the settlers. Sounds like Karl Marx. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. And that sounds fair. They nearly starved. It's the tragedy of the commons. When people can get the same stuff by working less, they will. Plymouth settlers faked illness rather than work the common property. The harvest was meager, and for 2 years there was famine. But then they dropped the commons idea. The colony's governor, William Bradford, wrote, they should set corn, every man for his own particular, assign to every family a parcel of land. The results were dramatic. This has had very good success. It made all hands very industrious. Much more corn was planted. Instead of famine, plenty. Thanks to private property, they got food. And we have food. Happy Thanksgiving. Be thankful. Now, if only more people realize that it's private property that allows us to have wealth, to create wealth. Some people in the privatized park understood that private ownership does good things. Private ownership or public ownership?
Private.
Private ownership.
I think they run things a lot better than the government does.
Yeah, the facilities upkeeps are better.
Private.
Others had to have it explained to them. But you said private was not so good.
You got me there.
The private managers delivered when government didn't. What private property does, as the Pilgrims discovered, is connect effort to reward. That creates an incentive for people to care much more and protect things. That's what's protected the elephants in Zimbabwe, the buffalo in the West, and these Atlantic salmon. It's what saved the Pilgrims. And then it made America the richest country in the history of the world. If you live in this slum in Egypt and have no deed to your property, you're stuck in poverty. But when you know that your home or your store or whatever you make is safe from confiscation, then you can borrow and take risks and invest. That gives you the power to prosper. And that's the lost lesson of Thanksgiving. So, happy Thanksgiving. Go prosper. Have a nice weekend and good night.
Catch the post-show conversation and get ticket information at johnstossel.com.